Hello and welcome to another Keeping It Real episode of We Only Look Thin. I am your real host, Donald Weigel, one of them. I have lost about 100 real pounds, and I've kept it off for about 100 real years. No, about 6 real years. And
wait, did you just say how many?
I said 100 real years. Yeah, I don't know. It just slipped
I went
out.
with it. I was
thinking about 100.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've kept my weight up for 100 years because I'm a vampire.
A vampire.
Yeah, interview with the
You're
vampire.
incredibly fast.
Yeah, and sparkly. And with me is my incredibly fast and sparkly co-host and wife, Catherine Weigel. Oh, and I just said your name for you.
I'm
I never do
Weigel.
that.
I am your co-host. I don't know why I said it like that
Yeah,
either.
co-host.
Co-host. And we are coasting into many years of marriage.
Yeah, that is very true.
Feels like 100. Fun fact.
I hope it's fun.
It's very fun. So speaking of our marriage and how long it has been, you might not know this, dear listener, have recorded we're recording 2 episodes today. And this episode is the second of the 2 that we've recorded. But I asked Donald which one he wanted to do first. And he said he always, or what did you say?
I wanted to do the other one, which was the last week's episode, which was about reducing.
5 mouse squids.
Yeah, it was mostly about 5 mouse squids and about you singing the time warp at the very end.
Yeah.
It was about reducing the frequency, volume, and duration of your
Food
indulgent
episodes,
behaviors. Yeah,
exactly.
And I thought that one would be a little more difficult to do, so I said I wanted to get the harder one out of the way first because I always like doing the more difficult thing first.
Right. And when you said that, remember I was like, I went like, heh, heh, heh.
Yeah.
I don't know why I sounded like an evil person.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not a laugh.
And then you were like, what? And I was like, oh no, I'm going to save it for the podcast.
Oh yeah, did you forget?
No.
Oh, no, this is happening
is the
now.
Part
this is
where it's a callback to something that didn't happen on the podcast.
Yeah, it's happening now.
You said you usually like to get the hard stuff over first in life.
I do.
And I thought to myself, is that why you married me when I was so young? Is what I thought.
I wanted to get this out of the way.
This guy over here. I'm actually using my right thumb right now, and I'm pointing at a wall, not Donald. But I was like, this guy over here.
You know this one over here. That's one of my least favorite expressions people use.
So apparently this is the easier of the 2 episodes.
Well,
I look forward to that.
Yeah, I just thought it would be easier for me anyway. I don't know.
Well, and the thing is that apparently this podcast that we're about to do is something I suggested.
Right. You suggested you, a Tiny Habits certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach.
Thank you. And loser of over 120 pounds and keeping it off for many years.
That's stuff you usually say at the beginning, but anyway, now we're saying it now.
Yeah.
You found this article and you emailed it to me, turns out about a year ago.
Yeah.
And we're just like getting around to it.
Right. So I was looking at something. I was like, hey, it's an article. But here's a very fun fact that Donald Weigel might not even know.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Another fun fact.
If you wouldn't mind taking a look at line 3 of your printed notes and tell me what it says the date is.
20. Oh, my goodness. 21 April 2023.
21 April 2023. Today. Donald, what is the date?
As we are recording this, you will hear it after this, but we are recording it on 21 April 2024.
What? It has been a year.
Yeah.
A year hence.
Wow.
That we have finally gotten around to this. So, for our dear listeners, I almost said Di Lorenzo's, which is my favorite pizza.
Di Lorenzo's, yes.
My favorite pizza, Di Lorenzo's Pizza Pie.
Yeah.
For our dear listeners who have sent us emails and are like, hey, Donald and Catherine said that they reply to emails. We don't even reply to our own emails.
Right, we don't even
for a year.
Yeah.
So if you are still eagerly awaiting some sort of reply from us, don't feel bad. maybe email us again, or maybe we will also reply to your email at some point. But we got a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, but think of it like basically we're time travelers.
Yes.
We're traveling back in time like exactly 1 year.
Yeah.
And giving you valuable information on how to save the future.
Yeah. Or what if it was like...
Save the future you.
Yeah. So we're finally getting around to our article. 3 things you should consider for the C2K problem. Why C2K?
Right.
We're going to talk about turning your calendars over to the year 2000. We have just gotten around to that. But guess what? Some topics are evergreen. Do you know what that means, Donald?
That means they stay green forever.
They stay green forever. That means that it doesn't matter when you're listening to this in the world.
No.
It is always appropriate to hear about it. And guess who talk about? Donald, guess who talk about? I can't stop it.
I'm trying to wait to see who I should guess who talk about. Yeah, I mean, what is who talk about that I need to guess?
Business is who talk about.
Who talk about business?
Okay.
I can't wait to find out who talk about business.
Okay. Talk about who business?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God. I can't believe you just did that.
Okay. No, but honestly.
So the article
is
called
a business article.
It's from a business-centric website called Timular, which is a really good name, actually. I like things that are timular, like I would eat things that are snackular.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no author credited, but it's called 6 Reasons Why Is It Important to Set Realistic Goals on Timular.com.
Yeah.
I will link to the article in the show notes. And as Catherine alluded to,
As I don't know what I did.
As Catherine talked about, it is about business. It is geared towards the business professional and about managing your time. But the article is called 6 Reasons Why It Is Important to Set Realistic Goals. And we really liked the bones of the article and think that it makes a lot of good points. And so we have decided to rename it, however, 6 Reasons Why It Is Important to Set Realistic Habits, because we think that is a little more our jam. And we are going to take these 6 reasons and go through them and change the wording and make them about weight loss and fitness.
It's amazing what we do because we're in the business of taking care of ourselves. And in actual business with buildings and chairs, which was basically what buildings are, and briefcases. Right. I know that that's a lot of what there are in staplers, I think.
Yeah, I think that people carry staplers in briefcases mostly, yeah. So
in business, they like to have big goals. And there are why? Because they want to make monies. Monies is why business is happening.
Do they talk about monies?
They do.
Yeah.
No, but they have quarterly goals and financial goals and revenues and all of those things. And I used to actually really dislike those meetings I would have once a year with my boss and be like, what are your goals? Let's make goals for the year. They look at sort of the end result. And for us, we often think about the end result of, I want to lose 20 pounds. That is our goal, right? The end kind of aspiration that we have. But it's fine to say, I want to make $1 million. I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, what habits will you put in place to make that possible? And so, again, as we're sort of reframing this, we need habits in place in order to make goals happen.
Yeah,
in the business of us.
I think it can be effective to really use money as a way to make sense of calories.
Yeah.
Or the idea of, a lot of people will say, well, why should I put away $5 a week?
Right.
What is that going to do? It's the same thing where people will say, why should I bother taking a 5-minute walk every day? Or why should I bother trying to save 100 calories a day? What is that going to do? if you keep doing that consistently over time, you keep saving that $5 a week, that $10 a week, like, especially imagine if you had started when you were a teenager throwing that kind of money away, like how much money you might have now if you are a wizened 54 like myself. No offense to anyone who's older than 54.
And with me today is the wizened 54.
Join me on stage with the wizened 54.
I'll have a club soda, but he'll have a wizened 54, please.
The wizened 54 play their club hit, Snack-a-Tunities or Snack-a-Doodle-Doo or something. I think that, taking things that people can relate to, there are some things that are very obvious in the world of business and money that make sense, and applying those same things to weight loss and fitness can be very helpful in getting your mindset around them and actually, starting to do the habits that are going to get you to the place where you want to be.
Yeah, I know some people, and it depends on what sort of gets you fired up. Everyone, I'm fired up. I have a very low threshold for being fired up in my dotage.
Yeah, no, Catherine gets fired up over virtually everything.
A new member in Wolt referred to her dotage recently. And I was like, I was like, I love that. Thank you for doing that.
I'm like gliding into my dotage for
sure.
I
am into it. But a lot of times setting ginormous goals feels exciting. And for some people, that is a true thing. Like you are really excited by big goals. But those realistic goals are generally more practical for most of us. Maybe you're on the part of the bell curve that's just like, okay, like I'm going to build a rocket to the moon. And be like, well, what if you just started at a walk? Like, what if you just started walking there? And maybe that is not exciting, but it might be more realistic.
Yeah. And we took a lot of, we did most of our weight losing, so to speak, before we had ever even heard of Tiny Habits or Atomic Habits, and didn't realize we were employing a lot of the techniques from those two systems. But we have found that, rather than just setting a goal, even a specific goal, actually figuring out, like breaking that down into even smaller parts and setting the habits in place that will get you to achieve that goal is even more important.
Exactly. So the article asks, why is it important to set realistic goals? And they make that analogy of sort of that new year. I mean, you make a vow, a blood oath. We're into blood oaths now, as we learned in the last episode.
Yes, it's all blood oaths right now with us.
Man, Kathy Blood Oath and the Wizen 64. How old are you? 54. Okay.
Yeah.
So said, we vow to cut down 3 pant sizes or start getting up earlier, but those things might never happen because we don't actually have the habits in place to make those happen. Frustration hits and we get stuck in a snowball of demotivation until we find the next goal that sounds really exciting. Like we watch something like somebody else on TV is doing. Do people watch TV? I don't even know. On Instagram has this amazing thing that they're going to do.
Right.
And then we jump on their bandwagon because suddenly that seems exciting.
Yeah. And, when you set a really huge goal and you don't hit it, then it leads to a lot of frustration and you get stuck in a sort of a snowball or a vicious circle of, well, I set this big goal, I didn't hit it. Well, that means I can't ever hit big goals. And I set this unrealistic big goal and I didn't hit it. And so this is more proof that I can't hit it. And you start really thinking that you can't do these things. Whereas if you set a realistic goal that you can hit, it builds confidence and builds momentum for you to keep going and eventually hit bigger goals.
Right. So as the episode is called Doom Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
Doom actually enters into this really inspiring article.
Yeah.
They say when we set those big unrealistic goals that we don't actually factor in our real lives, into the process, we are doomed to fail even before we start. And this is precisely why you need to understand the importance of setting realistic goals, whatever goal you have. And it's that thing of like that snowball. What are we? You said like a vicious snowball, I think.
I don't know. I meant to say vicious circle, and I
no,
said,
you didn't actually say vicious snowball, but I like the idea of a really vicious snowball of doom.
Snowball. I think of those like hard packed ones that the older kids used to make out of ice and then hit the younger kids like me. And I don't know why I was always the younger kid right in the face with it.
Are you sure? When we go back and view the tapes, are you the vicious snowball?
I don't know. In my mind,
hurler?
I was the one getting hit by the vicious snowballs. But yeah.
But that thing of those like, I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year, 50 by 50 or whatever. And then you realize you can't do it. It's like, well, guess this isn't my year. I'm going to have to wait until next year. So we're going to get into realism.
I heard that the vicious snowballs were opening for Kathy Blood Oath and the Wizened 54 at the Troubadour this weekend.
This is actually what I need to do. In my free time that I have, and it's definitely not a waste of time, is to come up with one of those Coachella lists of all the bands playing the side stages of all of the amazing band names that we have come up with.
I think these are two winners we've got going on right here.
So the goal that we have is the end result that we want. We want to lose the weight. We want to, we aspire to this end thing, but really habits are the practices that we put in place. And so we're, like Donald said, we're going to go through and talk about how to make those things realistic.
But before we do that, how about you define what is a realistic habit?
You think I'm going to refer to the Oxford and Webster dictionaries, but I am not. I am going to stick to the script.
Steal the definition from the article.
The actual article.
From Timular, yes.
Exactly.
What does the article say a realistic... They say a realistic goal. We're saying a realistic habit. What does that mean?
So they take into account your skills, time frame, and level of motivation. And we like to say it takes in the season, the actual time that you have, and the amount, like the emotional bandwidth you have in a particular time. So we're not talking about goals for for the next 50 years hence. We're just talking about the time right in front of us, the season that you are in. It says that it ensures that it is achievable and within reach. And that when you actually believe and you're realistic about given the time that I have right now, I can actually achieve this. It makes you feel successful and I can actually do this.
Sorry. And it's that thing that BJ Fogg talks about, like getting yourself to do the thing that you can do right now. Like the goal, the best habit is the one that you can actually get yourself to do like right now.
Right.
And not waiting for some, imaginary wave of motivation to come along.
Right. Because we're setting a foundation toward the path of success, right? We're not just going to jettison ourselves to the moon. We're starting slow, building the foundation. So Donald, why don't you launch us off, rocket into the moon with number one?
So number one.
I don't know what is wrong with me. Why can't I just say words?
There's nothing wrong with
you,
my
dear.
Gosh. You're perfect and wonderful.
All right.
So number one, the article says the first of 6 reasons why it is important to set realistic habits is habits build confidence and improve self-esteem. So it allows you to build a positive self-image and break down your bigger aspirations into manageable steps. And the article says that achieving them fosters resilience, adaptability, and learning from setbacks. Realistic habit setting empowers progress, confidence, and continuous improvement. So, in other words, as you achieve a habit, as you were able to put a habit into place, you become more confident in your abilities to do more habits. And so in these moments of victory, the article says, your body releases dopamine, and this happy hormone improves focus and mood and helps us sleep better. And so BJ Fogg, going back to tiny habits, encourages you to, no matter how small of a habit that you've just achieved, to really celebrate it
huge.
And really feel that celebration, because you get kind of hooked on that that dopamine hit, or that, celebrating yourself, even if it might seem silly at first, like, hey, look, I flossed like half my teeth. That was my like habit for the day. Like, if I really celebrate that, then I'm going to want to keep doing it because it feels good to achieve even a small habit like that.
Well, and I think another big part of success is feeling successful. And if you set some giant, like, okay, well, today I'm going to run 100 miles, and you only do 50.
Right.
Like, not that that's a thing. Like, you're like a super walker, that's fine, or runner, whatever. But like feeling discouraged because you didn't hit that giant goal feels pretty crummy. But if you break something down into, hey, I'm going to get in my 5-minute walk in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a vegetable, and you feel successful. Success builds on success, and feeling worthy and feeling good about what you're doing and the investments you're making day by day feels way better than like saving it all up for when you hit that big giant, goal that you want to hit.
Yeah, and just to put a bow on this first one, like, the reverse is also true. When you set an unrealistic habit for yourself or an unrealistic goal for yourself, and you like promise yourself you're going to do it, and then you don't, it leads to you feeling sad and frustrated, and it makes you want to try and achieve goals less and less. If you don't actually try to achieve a goal, then you can't feel like a failure.
Well, but that's a really big thing. It's like, if I never try, I never fail. And if I try and fail, then I'm a failure. But if you make it really small, it's like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that feels way better than just being in that awful circle.
Yeah, and then, it turns into a vicious snowball where you build upon, it's that snowball effect where you're building upon your habits, and the more habits that you achieve, the more that you realize you can achieve, and you want to keep going, so you keep feeling that success.
Right. So the next one in the category is realistic goals keep you motivated. And I know for us, we talk about how motivation is super unreliable. So we talk about, habits and goals building momentum.
Yeah.
Once you start small and you continue, you can build momentum over time. So the article goes on to say having specific achievable goals helps you keep your eyes on the prize. So again, sure, in the end, I want to be able to run a marathon, but I'm going to start out by just getting moving and going for a walk or going for a short jog. And once we build that confidence, we know that we can do more. So once you get that taste of success and confidence in yourself, you're going to work harder toward that. Like, sure, the results might be small at first, but over time, it's sort of like even thinking about like losing a small amount of weight. Oh, I only lost half a pound this week. Okay, well, if you keep that up for a year, suddenly that's 25 pounds. Are you going to be sad about that? Like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but over time, it really does help you build that confidence.
Yeah, and the author talks about something that we've talked about on this show, which is breaking down your goals into smaller ones. And, we talk about tiny habits, atomic habits. Way back in episode 86 of this show, we did one called Wake Me Up When September Ends, where we talked about SMART goals. And that is making your goals specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-oriented. And that makes them easier to manage. It makes it easier to allocate the time that you have for each task. And when your main goal is divided into multiple small ones, a big, vague goal can sometimes seem too far away, but hitting smaller benchmarks will help everyone know you're making progress. It helps you know that you're making progress, and it keeps the momentum going.
Well, and I think that ties into all of and I think it was in Atomic Habits where James Clear talks about having a constellation of habits that move you toward your goal. So it's not just, I want to lose 10 pounds. It's, these are the small daily investments I'm going to make. I'm going to drink water. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to add salad. I'm going to get in rest. I'm going to work on my boundaries. All those little things day by day add up to bigger change. And when you're specific, and like Donald said, we did the episode about SMART goals, is when you're specific, like I am specifically going to go for for a walk in the morning. I am going to walk to the end of the block.
Yeah.
This is attainable for me. It's realistic. And I'm going to and it's just a 5-minute thing. It's very easy and concise. If you just say, I want to be healthier. Am I being healthier? I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're specific.
Or like just even, I want to walk more, or I want to eat more vegetables. If you don't make a specific goal and put a sort of a timestamp on it, like I am going to do this at this time, it makes it a lot harder to actually put into place.
Like, am I walking more? I don't know. I'm not paying attention to that.
So the next point that the article makes, the next of the 6 reasons, reason number 3, is that it makes decision-making get easier as you go. So the more of these habits that you put in place, the easier it is to make decisions when a stumbling block gets in your way. And we talk a lot about putting your habits and systems in place to reduce decision fatigue.
Yeah.
So you decide once on something ahead of time so that when the decision comes up, like I will not eat unplanned treats, at work. So somebody brings in, cookies or whatever. I don't need to start naming food. Somebody brings in like a delicious food, that you weren't expecting. You weren't planning on having it. So your plan ahead of time is not to do it. And, we put all these habits in place, tying back to the last one. We make them specific and time oriented so that we don't have to decide when to do them or what to do. We've already got that plan in place. So we're going to do it at the specific time because we've already decided.
Well, and I think too, for those like reducing decision fatigue, the article says, and we've talked about it before too, of, there's an estimate that we make 35,000 decisions a day, whether they're conscious or unconscious.
Yeah.
And the more we can just make our habits, like we don't have to think about it. Like I don't have to think about, I'm having to think about what I'm having to think about. I think you should keep that in there.
I don't have to think about what I'm thinking about.
And I'm definitely not thinking about it now.
I'm thinking about what I don't have to think about.
But I have a habit of drinking coffee in the morning. I don't wake up going, gosh, should I have it today? I don't know. Like, oh boy, it's too much of a decision.
Right.
It's just something I do every day. I'm not saying that that's a healthy habit. I'm just saying it's something that I do. But when we have decided in advance what habits we're going to do toward our health goals, again, I don't have sugar until after dinner.
Yeah, that is one of mine too, except for fruit, I guess.
I only have a cocktail on the weekend. I don't eat off of our daughter's plate. Like that just frees me up to focus on other things. And we've done episodes about, I think we did, I'm a carby girl,
right,
about ways to include certain things in your life. I don't bring bagels home with me. That is not part of our marriage contract. I just don't do it. But that I only have it when I pair it with getting a haircut. It takes the decision out of the process and lets me focus on other things. So that is why having habits and goals are important.
All right. So what is number 4 out of 6 of the reasons for setting realistic habits?
Okay. So realistic habits and goals are quicker to achieve. When you fall into the mistake of setting aim for the moon goals, it takes you a long time to achieve them. So let's get real. You'll most likely get tired and never achieve those over-ambitious goals. This is a really big one for people who say, and this was a big shift for me, I want to lose 100 pounds. Day 0, that's my goal.
Right.
Hey, how about you focus on because what even is that if you've never lost 100 pounds? Could you lose 5 pounds?
Yeah.
What would someone who lost 5 pounds do?
Or 2 or 1.
Right.
Start with that.
Right. But for me in this new era of weight loss of my germ venture, someone the other day thought we were saying germ venture.
No, really?
Yeah, they did. It's journey and adventure turns into venture. But for me, I used to set these I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Anything less than that is a failure. hey, why don't I focus on what I can control right now in this season? I can control my portions. I can control pumping up the volume, and I can control going for a daily walk.
And I can control not going on a germ venture because that is not something I care to go on.
Right. So when we set those realistic goals and then we actually achieve them with the small habits that are also achievable, then we can celebrate. Oh my gosh, I've done this for a month. I'm down a few pounds. I feel successful. What is the next step that I can take? When people climb Mount Everest, it's not, okay, single shot, one day, let's do this. Like, let's drink a lot of coffee like Catherine has decided,
right,
and just do it. There are base camps. There are Sherpa. There are like equipment that you have.
All kinds of mountain climbing things.
You level up. If someone went to Mount Everest, a friend of yours, maybe, I don't know, and they come home and they say, well, I only got to base camp 2. You wouldn't boo them. You wouldn't like pop all the balloons you bought for them and not have the welcome back party. It's like, that's amazing. You achieved something many haven't. It's great.
I would. I mean, if you don't get to the top, why even bother?
Yeah. But that, like, being able to celebrate those small wins along the way helps build that momentum and helps keep you going. So realistic goals are better.
I hope everyone realized I was being facetious. It wasn't like I would actually not pop balloons for someone that I was planning to celebrate for climbing part of Mount Everest. Okay, so number 5 on the 6 reasons is you become aware of new opportunities.
What? There are more opportunities?
And the article says, not having realistic and attainable goals is like being lost in the middle of a forest without a map. It's easy to become disoriented and even frustrated if you don't have a destination to reach. The same can happen in your professional life. Goals give you the focus and strength you thought you didn't have.
Oh.
So this harkens back to what we were talking about with not being vague. Like, I want to be healthier is like super vague. But setting a realistic habit in place that allows you to actually, build on it and achieve goals might open up new opportunities for yourself. Like you might, like Catherine and I did, you might start a podcast. We never expected that is where that would lead when we started this journey. But a more, possibly more likely scenario is you might be somebody who says to themselves, I don't enjoy, movement, but you might add some movement to your life. And then you might start feeling like you're a little better when you do move, and it might start becoming more enjoyable. And so you might, it might open up an opportunity for you to try a sport. Maybe you've like heard about pickleball and it feels fun, but you don't think you're somebody who would enjoy movement, but you get yourself into a position where you do start enjoying your movement a little better, and it opens up an opportunity to do a whole new thing, and then before you know it, you're like a pickleball person.
Yeah, well, but there are also people, Stephanie, who we interviewed way back in the day on the Zumba-sode, I think it was.
Yes.
She auditioned a number of different activities at her local gym. She took a Zumba class. She found that she really enjoyed it. And then she became a certified Zumba instructor. And then suddenly it opened up this whole world of Zumba to her.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is a really big shift of being like, oh, I am not the typical person who is athletic. I could never inspire other people, but she is doing that every day. Our friend of the show, Nicole, who just celebrated her 10 years of maintenance, which is crazy wackadoodle.
Yeah, we have a bit to go before we get there.
But she just celebrated 10 years. She went from being super duper couch potato person. Now she has run over 120 half marathons. Like, that is huge. She has also become a fitness instructor.
I'm no math whiz, but that's a lot.
That is a lot.
That is a lot.
But whether or not it is a new opportunity in fitness, perhaps you realize that, like, for us, I didn't know boundaries were a huge issue. And now I'm a giant proponent of building boundaries, whether you're on your weight loss journey or not.
Yeah.
Like, it is really huge. And you don't know what positive, friendly soft snowball effect you might have on those around you. Not a danger doom buggy.
Friendly soft snowball.
The friendly soft snowball of like, you make positive changes in your life in a small way, and then suddenly you realize that the people around you are also making those changes. Maybe you stop the habit of bringing unhelpful goodies to parties and you start bringing gorgeous salads or whatever. Like, I actually did that. People are like, hey, Catherine, you make amazing salad. Please bring that to the next party.
Yeah.
Maybe you go from a Friday night trivia night where you're drinking all night. Maybe you switch that up to, hey guys, want to go on a morning hike? And then suddenly you're inspiring other people to get out and be active. It doesn't have to be in an official capacity, but if you change your habits, you might find that, your kids suddenly start having better habits. You're affecting generations of people just with the small changes that you're making. And that matters. Changing the lives of people around you is a really huge way that your goals and your habits affect the world around you in ways that are unexpected.
Okay, Kathy Bloodoath, why don't you bring us home with number 6 in the 6 reasons why it is important to set realistic habits?
I really appreciate how you remind people what we're talking about. That is not my flow, and I appreciate you being there and bringing us back to
thank
Earth.
you. I try my best to be helpful.
Okay, so setting realistic goals will change your life. Oh my gosh, what? We should have started with that one.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah.
So having objectives and several milestones along the way helps us stay motivated and focused during the journey. And at the end of the day, this is what brings us life-changing benefits. So again, on the path to losing 100 pounds, which that was not like, sure, that was my pie in the sky, moon in the sky. Is the moon in the sky or is the pie in the sky?
I think they're both.
Okay,
yeah, they're both.
The spoon jumped
there's
over
a moon pie in the sky. Yeah, that's where we need to go.
But having small milestones along your path really helps, again, build that momentum and makes it, what if you were like, okay, well, I only have one goal and it's going to take 10 years. If you were just like, well, nothing to celebrate until I hit 10 years.
Right.
Like nothing. Like what if Nicole was like, well, unless it's 10 years that I hit my goal, then there's nothing good along the way. She is collecting medals along her way to getting up over 100 half marathons. She is hitting small milestones day by day. And that really helps keep us engaged. If you said like, okay, not going to be proud of you until you hit 100 pounds lost. Can't wait to feel proud of you. Being proud at every single step really matters in keeping us showing up every day.
You actually did say that to me.
What? Well, but only because why? Because why?
I said, don't be proud of me yet.
Right. And that is not friendly.
No, that was not the mindset I should have had. But really, it is, we have dozens of these small habits that we put into place over time. We didn't put all of them into place all at once, but we added them gradually as we went along and just added habit after habit. And it eventually led to a life-changing, it didn't just change our lives because we lost a lot of weight. It changed our lives because now Catherine coaches other people as her job.
Yeah.
And we have this podcast that we do all the time. And it who knows what sort of, life changes might come to you if you start putting all of these small goals into place and allow them to build up over time.
Well, and I think a big part of this, sort of as we're rounding out, Donald and I spent our teens, 20s, 30s into our 40s waiting for the perfect time to become new people.
Yeah.
We were like, when we finally get over this, thing at work, once we pay off this debt, once we have an 18-year-old instead of an 8-year-old that is our roommate, I'm sorry. I don't know why I just can't talk like a person, but it's sort of that mirage. Once I graduate from college, once I get that job, once things slow down, after the kids are out of the house, once, I finish this giant project, once the house remodel is done, then I'll be able to really commit to eating well.
Yeah.
Then I'll really be able to commit to that training program. Once I retire, I'll be able to use then I'll have the bandwidth to hit my dream goals. When we use the future as this mythical place where suddenly we don't have challenges, where suddenly things are going to slow down and we'll have time to do it, we're putting off those small things that we can change today that are realistic. Is it realistic to eat a carrot today? Is it realistic to go outside and get some fresh air?
Yeah.
Is it realistic to, go on a walk after dinner and enjoy the sunset? You can do that today for no money. You don't need a personal trainer. You don't need a, sous chef to plan all of your meals. Maybe that will build over time and you can make it happen. But really, when we make those small investments time and time again, we're setting ourselves up for success. We become the people we want to be by doing the things that person does. And that means taking into account our actual lives, setting those small goals, putting habits in place that match. Donald is trying not to laugh, and I would really, you're interrupting the class, sir. Please, I was trying to be earnest. No.
Please finish. I don't actually have anything to
You're
say.
a smirky turkey. Donald is... Okay, if we're being honest, Donald, I found out, and this is really important, and you know what? This is real life. You're getting us. I thought recently that Donald was exasperated by me because when we were podcasting, he would I would be talking, and he would sort of look up toward the sky. I thought he was like, dear goodness, won't this woman be quiet? And it turns out, what were you doing, Donald?
I was just trying not to breathe into the microphone.
Trying not to breathe. Look at that misunderstanding.
So I've been trying to put extra pleasant looks on my face while Catherine is talking during this episode, and I was just cracking myself up by putting like the silliest pleasant look on my face.
And I thought, but okay, going back to being serious.
Yeah.
How many times have we marinated in discontent by interpreting what someone else was doing and building giant stories around why they were acting a certain way or looking up exasperated? We went a really long time in our marriage with not addressing issues because we were just like, well, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to make it weird or whatever. This morning, while we were out on our morning walk, I said, Hey, Donald, I have something to ask and say. I noticed that you do X.
Yeah.
And I think you hate me and you want me to stop talking.
Why would you go straight to hate
Because
you?
that was but because I have boundaries, I asserted them. I said, again, as a side effect, before I would have just assumed he hated me and then ate about it. But we talked about it. He told me what was actually going on, which was considerably less sinister than I thought it was. He was just trying not to breathe into the microphone.
Yeah, I think the mic has been picking up my breathing a lot while you're talking.
So
I think I'm breathing weird.
We resolved what I thought was a marriage issue. It was a sound quality issue. Don't I feel like Boo Boo the Fool for assuming the worst about my husband?
Yeah, no, you are Boo Boo the Fool, though. That's for sure.
Anyway, so a side effect of all of this weight loss stuff are the boundaries and honesty that we have put in place. And we were able to resolve something that might have on our deathbeds been, you never liked me on the podcast. And then finding out, it was like, hey, bro, I was just trying not to breathe heavy.
I don't know why you thought that, but okay, we're good.
Anyway, so it is important to go back, and I'm not going to look at Donald, so I can't see any of the faces that he's making. It is really important to be realistic when you are putting habits in place and when you are setting goals for yourself. So again, setting realistic goals and making achievable habits, they build confidence and improve self-esteem. They help keep the momentum going. They build motivation. They make decision making easier. They are quicker to achieve and help you celebrate each and every day. They help you find new opportunities to inspire others, and they'll change your life. They'll change your life. If that doesn't get you going, I do not know what will get you going.
Me either. Thank you so much for making an investment in yourself by listening to this show. We really appreciate it. Each and every episode of this show is available somewhere on the interweb. The most recent 300 episodes are available on all of the most major podcast platforms and some of the most minor ones. And every single one of our episodes is available on YouTube and on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, you can click on that link for Join Our Support Group, where you can find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. We are not a weight loss plan, but we are a place for accountability, for check-ins. We do weekly Zoom meetings, and it's just a safe space to work on your habits and your goals with other women who are in all stages of their weight loss journey. Some people are in maintenance, some people are just starting out. We have so many amazing people there to support you, including me, myself, and I. That's 3 more people you hadn't even thought about. All 3 of me. So check us out. We've got 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
So check it out. And you can also check us out on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at We Only Look Thin. Also, you can email us if you so choose. You can send us an email to weonlylookthin@gmail.com. We like getting episode suggestions. In fact, we have turned a lot of listener emails into episodes of this show. We will do our best to answer your questions, even if it might take us a year. And you can also just give us a compliment. Reach out, say hello. We really like hearing from you when you know something on the show resonates with you, and you take a minute to send us an email. We really enjoy getting those. So if you feel like it, once again, that is weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep, and if you can head over to Apple Podcast, please leave us a rating and a review. It means so much as we are getting new listeners to find out that we are impacting other people's lives. It just honestly means the world to us personally, so giving us a shout out there really makes a difference. Leave us a rating or a review, and not only does it make us feel good, but it also helps the internet direct other people to our podcast when they are looking for inspiring, maybe a little confusing at the beginning with lots of aside podcasts, but we get there eventually.
Yeah.
And so if you could head over there, please do. It means the world to us.
And speaking of giving us a shout out, you can give us a shout out by speaking to someone. If you are
speak out. Give us a speak out.
Give us a speak out. If you are talking to somebody, and if you know somebody that might get something out of the show and they hear from you, people really do value your opinion. When you say we're good, they will think we're good and check us out. Likewise, if you are on the internet on a Reddit group or a Discord server or a Facebook group, and you feel like it's appropriate, something, a topic related to weight loss and fitness, and you want to give us a shout out, that would really help people find us, and we would be grateful.
Yep.
So the next time you're on the internet trying to find out when Kathy Bloodoath and the Wizened 54 are playing next in your town, please remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.